Hello everyone. In this video we are going to learn about variable scope and how to debug our code. Variable scope is where the variable is visible or accessible in our program. So if I create a function called display and I'll create a variable num1 type int and I'll assign the value 30 to num1. So I cannot access num1 inside main. Num1 will only be accessible inside function display. So this part is the scope of num1, this block. So I can say fmt.println num1 inside display, but if I do the same thing inside main, then I'll get an error. Now if I run this code, I'll get an error that num1 is undefined, as you can see over here. So if I declare a variable inside main, then it will be accessible only inside main, not in display. But what if I want a variable which is accessible throughout all functions? Such a variable is called a global variable, and the best place to initialize to declare them is below the import statement. So to declare a global variable, I simply say var num and type. I cannot initialize it outside. That has to be done inside a function. So I'll simply initialize num and give it value 40, and then I'll call display, and inside display I'll also print num. So I'll just add a message in display so I know that that's from my function display and the other is from my main, in main and num. Now if I print this out, I'll get that the value of num is 40 in display as well as in main. To actually know how this works, let's debug our code. So to debug our code, first click on this icon, the fourth icon. It has a bug sign and a play. Once you click on it, if you're doing this for the first time, you'll see a create launch.json option here. Just click on it and then you'll see this part of the screen. And after you've done this, it's time to add a breakpoint. So a breakpoint, what is a breakpoint? A breakpoint is where you want the program execution to halt. Now if I say I want a breakpoint at line 8, I simply have to move my cursor. You can see a red dot over here. Just click on it. The dot will be highlighted even after moving. And if I want to remove it, click on it again. Then it gets removed automatically. So when I execute this, there is a breakpoint on line 8. So program execution will halt on line 8 till I do a step over. I'll tell you how that works. Firstly, once you've added a breakpoint, just run and start debugging. And even this, if you're doing for the first time, you'll see an install extensions option. Just click install to install the extensions. Now since I've put a breakpoint here, the execution stops. You can see it is highlighted. Now if I do a step over means I'll go to the next line. So I'll do a step over, it will go to the next line. Now if I do a step over again, it will go to this line, but this is a function call, so I can step into this function. So I'll click on this button, step into, and you can see we get the variable values on the left inside the variable column. So we have a global variable num which has been assigned the value 40. We can see it over here. So I'll simply do a step into now. So we have a local variable in func display. Let me just step over. See, we have the local variable num1. Now once it is declared, the value should be 0. So it is 0. Now we are initializing the value 30. Once we've pressed on step over, this part will be executed. So this is executed. Now the value is 30, and then the print won't be displayed because we only have values of variables. So I'll just click on step over, and after this function exits, we'll get to this part of our code. So I'll just click. As you can see, it is highlighted. So we see the value is 40 for both inside display and inside main. But what if I switch my function call here? Now the function is being called before I am initializing this value. The global variable is same for all, but I'm doing it over here. So which means that my global variable has not yet been initialized with a number. So it should get the default value. how this works, I'll just stop this debugging and start off again. I'll save this code and start debugging. I have to add a breakpoint again, so it stops here. Now the value of num is 0, so it has not yet reached this part of the code. So when it reaches here, so I'll just do a step into, step over. Now the value of num1 is 30, but num is still 0 because we haven't reached here. Now if I give num some value inside this function, then it will take it, but for now I haven't, so it will take the value 0 and it will print 0, and after it exits display, then the value 40 will be assigned and it will print 40 inside me. So I just stop this and run this in our traditional way. So we get in display 0 and in main 40. I hope this part is clear. Similarly, inside a for loop also we have a variable scope. So if I say for I, do a shorthand declaration I 10 and I is less than 20, I plus plus. Let me just do a smaller loop. I'll just say 40. So I'll say fmt.println I. Now this variable I is only accessible inside the for loop. So this is the scope of variable I. I cannot do a fmt.println outside the for. I'll just take this line down and save this. Okay, no debugs, just directly run the code. We get the error undefined I, because we cannot use I outside the for, because we are declaring it inside for. Similarly, if we declare some variables inside if or switch, we have to use it inside if or switch block, because the scope would be limited to it. Now if I remove this and save this, the code will run properly. 10, 11, 12, 13. This will be all for this video. Thank you for watching.